Their empire conquered. Thousands of races, but Earth wasn't among them. Admiral Zexithara stared at the holographic display with mounting confusion. The tactical readout showed something impossible, a fleet of primitive vessels holding formation against the hegemony's 7th Conquest Armada. For 3,000 cycles, no species had lasted more than a solar rotation against their war machine. Yet these creatures from the backwater world called Earth had been fighting for 7 rotations now. "Status report," Zexithara commanded, his forearms manipulating the control interface with practiced efficiency. Commander Veltuk approached the command dais, his crystalline carapace clicking nervously. "Admiral, the humans continue to employ tactics we've never encountered. They sacrifice their vessels without hesitation, ramming our dreadnoughts even when their weapons fail. Their smaller craft swarm our capital ships like parasites." Zexithara's membrane fluttered, a sign of irritation among his species. The hegemony had conquered the Zephyrians with their crystal technology, the gas-dwelling Umbrals with their phase-shifting abilities, and even the hive-minded collective with their trillion-strong swarms. Each conquest had added to their military doctrine, making them unstoppable, but humans were different. "Show me the tactical analysis of their latest engagement," the Admiral ordered. The hologram shifted to display a recent battle. Zexithara watched. As human vessels, crude metal constructs held together by primitive fusion drives, executed maneuvers that defied logic. When a human destroyer's weapon systems failed, its captain didn't retreat. Instead, the vessel accelerated toward a hegemony cruiser 10 times its size, detonating its reactor core on impact. "They fight like they have nothing to lose," Veltuk observed. "Our psychological warfare specialists cannot break their morale. When we destroyed their colony on Proxima B expecting surrender, they responded by mobilizing their entire species for war." Zexithara had read the reports. Unlike every other species the hegemony had encountered, humans possessed no unified government, no central authority to negotiate with or coerce. They were fragmented into hundreds of political entities that constantly warred among themselves. Yet the moment an external threat appeared, they had unified with unprecedented speed. "Their technology is inferior," Zexithara mused, "but their application of it—" He paused, studying footage of human Marines boarding a hegemony station. The creatures fought with primitive kinetic weapons, yet their tactical coordination was flawless. They seemed to anticipate each other's movements, covering angles of attack that computer simulations suggested they shouldn't understand. "Admiral," Veltuk said hesitantly, "Intelligence Division has a theory about their unusual capabilities." "Proceed." "Humans evolved from persistence hunters. They didn't develop the claws of the Velthari or the armor of the Drakmori. Instead, they became endurance specialists. Their military doctrine reflects this. They can sustain losses that would break any other species' will to fight." The Admiral's secondary arms drummed against his command throne. Every species in the hegemony had evolved specific advantages. The Silurians had perfect memory. The Quantari could manipulate electromagnetic fields. The hegemony itself had evolved superior pattern recognition. But humans seemed to have evolved the one trait the hegemony had never encountered as a primary adaptation: pure, stubborn persistence. A communication alert interrupted his thoughts. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet." On screen. The face that appeared was unremarkable by galactic standards. Soft features, small eyes, no natural armor or weapons. The human wore a primitive atmospheric suit, its transparent helmet revealing weathered skin and graying hair. "I am Admiral Chen of the Terran Defense Fleet," the human said in heavily accented galactic standard. "I'm calling to discuss terms." Zexithara leaned forward. Finally, they would surrender. "You wish to discuss the parameters of your capitulation?" Admiral Chen's expression remained neutral. "I'm here to discuss the terms of your withdrawal from Terran space." The bridge fell silent. Several officers' membranes fluttered in shock. "You jest," Zexithara said. "You've lost 60% of your fleet. Your homeworld is blockaded. Your colonies are in ruins." "Yes," Chen acknowledged calmly. "And in 7 days of fighting, you've lost 12% of your 7th Armada. At this rate, we'll both be extinct in 50 days. The difference is we're fighting for our survival. You're fighting for conquest number 2847. Zexathara's tertiary eyes focused on the tactical display. The human was correct. The hegemony had suffered unprecedented losses, not because human weapons were superior, but because humans refused to follow standard tactical doctrine. They used their ships as weapons, their bodies as shields, their defeats as intelligence-gathering opportunities. Your species has potential, Chen continued. Our analysts have studied your expansion patterns. You're not evil conquerors. You're explorers who've forgotten how to stop growing. But growth without purpose becomes cancer. You dare lecture the hegemony on, I'm offering you something no species has offered before, Chen interrupted. Partnership. Not submission, not conquest, alliance. We'll teach you what we've learned about persistence and adaptation. In return, you teach us what you've learned about unity and organization. Zexathara stared at the human admiral. In 3,000 cycles of conquest, no species had ever offered to become stronger together rather than submit to superior force. And if we refuse? Chen's expression hardened. Then we keep fighting. Maybe you'll win eventually, but it'll cost you more than any previous conquest. Your other subject species will see that the hegemony can bleed. Some might start wondering if submission is really their only option. The Admiral's membrane stilled as he processed the implications. The human was offering a choice the hegemony had never faced. Evolve beyond conquest or risk the stability of their entire empire. I will convey your proposal to the High Council, Zexathara said finally. As the transmission ended, Veltuk approached nervously. Admiral, surely we cannot consider— Commander, Zexathara interrupted. Prepare a detailed report on human tactical innovations. Include recommendations for potential integration into our military doctrine. For the first time in 3 millennia, the hegemony had encountered something they couldn't simply conquer. A species that grew stronger through adversity, that turned every defeat into a lesson, and that refused to accept any outcome except survival. Perhaps, the Admiral thought, it was time for the hegemony to learn something new.